G'day. AJ Mahari here. BPD Breakups. No closure. The codependent rescuer's kryptonite. What am I talking about here? No closure becomes your kryptonite. How is it that happens, and why does that happen? Well, the thing about no closure, it's true in all forms of it's true in all forms of relationships with cluster B, especially I'm just talking about people with BPD here, that you're not going to get closure from them. And so what does that really, it's very painful, it's very difficult, it's very confusing. I'm just noticing light, sorry about that. We'll work that out soon because I got a new situation here, sorry. So no closure, painful, difficult. People believe that it's the main driver behind cognitive dissonance, many other feelings and difficulties associated with these relationship breakups, for sure. But it's not really the main driver behind rumination exactly. It has a lot to do with it. But what the issues really are about, so okay, I could say a lot about this. Let me just stick with the no closure aspect and why it is your codependent kryptonite. Because you're never going to get no closure from cluster B, from a person with BPD or NPD or, so we'll stick with BPD right now. You're not going to get no closure. So people, and work with clients, and don't forget, like I'm listening to people many hours a day, sometimes more than 5 days a week, and I'm learning a lot, and I've been learning a lot for 30 years on this. And so I hear a lot of the different reasons why people struggle with no closure, especially when they're able to get themselves into a full no contact position, or the next best thing if there's children involved, which is extreme low no contact or extreme low contact, right? Only to be about a child or children involved. So with that then, no closure is what people know. They know that. But here's the thing. It's a slippery slope. It's the codependent kryptonite, because if you don't go, if there's no children involved, extreme low contact if there's children involved, if you don't go full no contact, then what happens is what people perceive, what people feel, what people think about the reality of no closure. And why do I put it like that? Well, because it's not always exactly, sorry, I'm having button problems here. It's not always exactly what you're feeling, what you're ruminating about. The no closure, where does that take you that almost brings you to yourself, right? Because people with codependency are still in their own repetition compulsions of not wanting to look at self, or not knowing how to tolerate that. So let me just say at this juncture, where you will get and can get closure from these relationships is in therapy, is in your multi-layered, multifaceted therapy. I'm out here to work with you if I resonate with you, wherein you're doing not only inner child healing work, and you're doing family of origin work and other aspects of the work, but you're looking at codependency recovery healing work, as well as, when I work with clients, simultaneously, the relationship recovery work. That's where you're actually going to find closure. Now, why is it so hard for people with codependency to hear that, to try to go that route necessarily first thing, and with full no contact? Because that's not what people think or believe. What do you mean I'm going to get no closure in therapy, but like I need it now? But like I want it from that person. I want them to know how bad I feel. I want them to know how much they've hurt me. I want them to get it. I can't stand that they still think I'm a monster. These are the things I hear from clients. Plus people share things like that on the channel and in live streams. But the thing about that, so the no closure is a big, big deal. But it's not the biggest deal for the reasons that most people with codependency think it is. It is. It's painful and it's difficult. And then you start doubting yourself, or it causes you to doubt yourself because you always, I shouldn't say always. Most people get blamed during the breakup, or when they're ghosted, or if there's any communication at all, it's a blame message to you. And then I have a dog that's streaming. And then people, so really doubting themselves, you think, well, if I could have just done this, if I just could have not done that, if I could have done this instead. So the no closure, yes, it plays into rumination. Yes, it plays into all kinds of things, the cognitive dissonance and more. But what that does is it keeps stirring up what you last heard, or what you believe, or some excuse or reason that you were given why it was your fault, which those are always abject projections from people with BPD, and especially untreated. So the key thing here is to getting to realize and understand that if you follow all the feelings, all the rumination, everything to do with no closure, if you pay too much attention to it, well, more to the point, if you take action based on it, then this leads people to want to reverse Hoover, to want to be Hoovered, to be susceptible to not being able to hold any boundary because you haven't changed yet either in your codependency. The borderline that might Hoover you, your ex that might Hoover you, hasn't changed. Nothing has changed. But everybody wants relief. Relief comes in slow measure, to be honest with you, in a therapeutic process where you're working on all these facets together. But the key thing about the slippery slope of the codependent kryptonite, of the no closure in the BPD relationship breakup, is that if you're not full no contact, what's going to happen is you're going to stealth reverse Hoover their social media, you're going to reverse Hoover them, or you're going to want to write them a letter, or you're going to want to tell them, hey, you think they've got BPD if they don't have any clue, and you're going to want to, you're going to be feeling bad for them because it's, what are codependents doing after these breakups, no matter which way the relationship ruptures, ends, breaks, etc. People are still, with codependency, trying to avoid themselves because codependents need to learn in therapy how to focus on yourself. You really do. Especially with significant to severe codependency. So this no closure, you're not going to get it by writing yourself all the letters in the world, writing letters to, or doing a reverse Hoover, or doing allowing contact to remain so that the ex with BPD can Hoover you. So you might really think, I've had it with this person and no way would I ever go back, but I want closure. Closure is a cry of need and agony after the BPD relationship breakup, without a doubt. But you don't want to end up thinking that you can ameliorate that need or satiate that need with anything to do with the person that just created on top of your codependency you might not really have known about in your life, just created more pain and agony for you. How is it going to be a solution to get Hoovered, be susceptible because of no closure, be wanting no closure? See, no closure really ends up being almost code words for codependence for, I want to try again. I want that person back. I'm going to do this differently, that differently. You've been learning about BPD. You've been learning about these relationships and breakups. And now you think, well, and you probably know more, but maybe not about your part and what could still happen and how nothing's going to change, because that goes from logic into feelings really quickly. But you probably know more. And now you're thinking, well, okay, the no closure. Right, yeah. Well, I'd just like to talk to him or her one more time. I'd just like to tell them this, that, the other thing. I'd like to know what, Not only does that not work, but invariably, closure is the slippery slope in an unconscious to subconscious way for people with codependency of not realizing that you're not okay with what's happened. Whether you broke up or they ghosted you, you want a do-over. And this is what a lot of people don't realize, because so many people will say, I don't want a do-over. Clients I've worked with, I don't want a do-over at all. I just want closure. But it keeps people from going full no contact because they want to be Hoovered. because they got this closure piece, and you're never going to get it from the person with BPD. So I'm out here to work with you if you'd really like to get serious about feeling better, learning some things about yourself, creating a healthy relationship to and with yourself, so that you can actually move through this. And you will find the closure in the process, and you will heal from the relationship breakup and the relationship and all that goes with that. And you will be healing your codependency, and you will be finding and knowing yourself. And I don't wave a magical wand, but the thing is, closure is codependent kryptonite. The no closure, the wanting the closure, the reverse hoovering, or the allowing, the staying in contact or allowing them ways to contact you in the name of closure. It absolutely is a way of keeping a door open that many people believe they will never walk through again. And yet what happens? Well, higher and higher percentages now of people are recycling back into the relationships. And you know what happens when that happens? There's still no closure. There's more episodes to which you don't get closure, to episode after episode. And then you come out the other end again faster than before. Whether you break up again or they ghost again or whatever happened the first time is usually the way it goes the second or the third or the fourth or the fifth. And you just end up with compounding no closure. No closure for more people than not with codependency is a slippery slope. Codependent kryptonite. Code word. No closure. I need closure are code words for I need a do-over. I need to do this again. I can't live with this. I'm in too much agony. I can't stop ruminating, etc. But the answers to everything you need, and the relief that you need, and the growth and the healing that you need, it's in therapy. It doesn't reside with the other person. So if you are in the slippery slope of contact still open, or you could be hoovered, or you might reverse hoover, and you're not in therapy and you're not working it through, and you are susceptible to taking action or allowing the ex to hoover you in that action, make no mistake about it. No closure isn't about the closure. It's about you want them back. It's about the hit again. It's about the feeling of I can't be without them. It's fear of being alone. It's fear of all kinds of things that codependents have fear of. It's being abandoned. It's how you think that they're thinking about, or how badly they are thinking about you. And how many of the people in their life or friends or family did you come to really have healthier relationships with? And now you've lost it all, and now maybe a smear campaign, etc. But the thing is, all of that is why the no closure, if you engage it, if you don't close all the contact possibilities and get yourself into therapy, no closure is a codependent kryptonite slippery slope to do-over, try again, want them back, can't do this, gotta have that person who you thought they were. So I could go on, but I won't continue on this video. I hope this message might just hit you in a little bit of a different way, because make no mistake about it, I know what I'm talking about here. And what you need to do for you is you need therapy. Doesn't have to be with me, of course, but if I resonate with you, I'm out here and I help people and I get them through. I shouldn't say I get them through. They learn from me and we work together, and they heal and recover, and they find the closure in the only place you can find the closure. It's an inside job in therapy. It's not coming from the BPD or the NPD, the cluster B, and more to the point, you need a much deeper closure. That's something that you need. That is, why you have codependency. So there's no closure, no matter what you're thinking right now. There's more to it. It goes deeper than what you might be aware of right now. And I mean that with all due respect. So no closure is the codependent kryptonite, slippery slope to want to do over, to not being finished, to needing to go back. Because make no mistake about it, let me say it once more really clearly. No closure never comes from the cluster B. It comes from you getting in your own healing and recovery process, and you will find closure without them. So I hope this was helpful, and I hope it makes sense, and everybody take care.